This episode of In the Bite Dock Talk is brought to you by Release Ruler. Release Ruler, patented weight estimating fish rulers using growth chart research to provide fish measurement solutions for safe release. Available online at www.releaseruler.com.
Welcome to this edition of Dock Talk. I'm your host Dale Wills, and today I've got a special guest. It's our 2012 and 2014 InTheBite Captain of the Year, and that's Rob Moore from the Fa La Me. And today we're going to talk about the '92 Viking he just took delivery of here just this last year. Talk about the enclosed bridge, pros and cons of fishing an enclosed bridge, and then what's a typical day on the '92 Viking Fa La Me, and then finally we're going to talk about their schedule for the rest of the year. So, Rob, I'd like to begin. Just talk a little bit about how long have you been a captain, and where'd you get started?
Well, it was BC. It was pretty much I grew up in it. My dad had a couple charter boats up in Fort Pierce, so I never really had another job except doing this. And then I got an opportunity to run the Escapade when I was 22, and then I ran that boat for almost 10 years, up and down the coast and down to Venezuela a lot. So learned a lot on that boat, and which kind of put me in a position to be where I am today.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you guys catching a fantasy slam down in Venezuela, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But today, would you think you're running a 92-foot sport fishing boat?
No, I don't think anybody thought that anybody'd be running a 92-foot sport fish boat, especially of that caliber, the way it performs and everything. That's the crazy thing about it.
Yeah. And you've got how many hours on it now?
Well, we took delivery of the boat in November up in Jersey, and then we ran it down, put a tower on it, and so really I would say the end of January.
Yeah.
Is when we took delivery, so now we got 450 hours on it already. So.
And talk a little bit the layout, the electronics, the specs. I mean, what is the layout in there, the 92? Well,
being an enclosed bridge boat, you got to think a little bit differently than an open bridge boat because you have different stations, so a lot of networking has to go on, and there's pros and cons to both. I love Garmin, I love Furuno, so we virtually have a total package of both. And then that also gives us a little redundancy in case one does go bad, and so I can keep going with my trip with the other electronics. But it works out good. We got the tower, we got the aft station, we got the inside, so it's a lot going on.
And how many staterooms are in that?
There's 6 staterooms and 8 heads.
Wow.
Yeah. So we use a lot of 409. Yeah.
That's great. And then she's powered by
the MTU, the M96 motors at 2600s, and I think we're probably one of the first boats to really have those motors, and it's really those motors are amazing. You can't get them to smoke, and the acceleration is just silly.
And then let's talk about the cruise and your range. Or
the cruise on the 92, with those new motors, they want you to run them like 2150 because they turn up to 2450. So, but we run her about 2075, and that's about 29 knots. And the range on it is about 600 miles at cruise, so we can definitely roll out, which is nice.
What's the fuel burn at that level?
It's 180. It definitely, she'll eat a little more fuel, but a lot of that, I think a lot of the new boat builders all the way across the board using these motors will see because of the new emissions. Believe it or not, they burn more fuel to make it more efficient, which is crazy for us to think about it, but the engineers, they make it work. So,
Geez. So, cruising at that speed, I mean, that's moving along for a 92-foot boat too.
Yeah. And she tops out at 39. I've seen 40 knots on her one time. I think I was with the current, but she's a steady 38, 39 knots. Wide open, and and she's comfortable. That's about all I can say with that.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah, riding up there in the enclosed bridge. And
Yeah.
the ZF gears, too, those are...
Yep. When you put them in gear, you don't even realize you're in gear. So that definitely takes some getting used to when you're pulling in and out of the marinas and everything. It's but once you get used to it, it is so nice. You don't get this sucked down like you used to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like in the Bahamas, your chances of hitting bottom in your slip are less.
Yeah.
So, which is really nice.
And what is the draft on the...
Believe it or not, it's only 5'10".
Wow. And then your previous boat was...
5'8", and that was a 70, which we loved that boat a lot. That was one of my favorite boats, but this one's tugging at my heartstrings a little bit. I'm liking her.
Yeah, that's great. And then I always wonder, like, you have the enclosed bridge, and you know, you're going into a slip or you're docking. What do you have, like, communication with your deckhands around the boat, or is it
Just,
you know,
have a really good mate?
You have a good mate. You can grab a pylon with the line.
Yeah. Taylor, my mate Taylor Beckford, he's been with me for a while, and he's as good as they come. So we kind of know, you know, we have if it's a new place, we'll have a plan. Say, you know, I'll say, hey, you know, watch my bow line in this situation, that I may see something coming in, but all in all, he knows to get my bow line, then get my spring, and then we work our way aft. But so it works out well.
And the bow thruster.
The bow thruster is, gosh, I think that thing is 50 horsepower. So I mean, it'll push that bow around big time, and it's all hydraulic, so that's really nice. You can run it as long as you want.
Wow, that's great. And then I would imagine you would use that fishing too, you know?
I have used that more. You know, we just went to Dominican Republic, and we had some really good blue marlin fishing out of Casa de Campo, and there was a couple of fish that she gave us a whirl. You know, and we would sit there and spin around in circles, but I would use the bow thruster, and it definitely pushed it around. So I was kind of surprised, really.
Wow, that's great.
It's pretty nimble.
Okay, and then talking about the enclosed bridge, I know that, you know, for years people thought, you know, it was just hard to fish out of, and I think you've proved that over the past couple years, you know, with the other Fa La Me's, that you're able to compete at a high level with an enclosed bridge. And what advice would you give another captain who maybe doesn't have an enclosed bridge that is going to an enclosed bridge? Is there anything you could share with them? It's just
wow. I would, you know, I mean, a lot of guys that do fish an enclosed bridge now, they like to fish out of the tower. I'm scared of heights, so I stay out of it, especially in our tower now. But no, you know, we run all of our teasers from the bridge, our dredge, you know, and our squid change. So it all comes from the bridge. So I kind of need to be on that aft station. But I would say the biggest thing is you have to be aware of who's around you more than with an open bridge boat. But it's like anything else, you know. Once you get used to it, you're used to it, and it's not that big a deal. You just, you know, you just got to jump in the fire, and you'll realize it's hot and figure it out.
I can imagine traveling, you know, you get up, you don't have all the salt on you, and you just you're up there in the AC, you're watching.
There's nothing better traveling. You know, we got it all set up with a hard drive, and we got, I don't know how many movies, and we just start watching movies and push her on up there to cruise, and here we go. So it's nice. No,
that's great. And then, you know, as far as fishing and you know, one of the things I was curious about is the outriggers you guys put on that boat.
Yes.
I think they are the largest outriggers Rupp has made.
Yes.
And talk to us a little bit about, you know, how you've laid them out. Did you get an angle, or how did you feel that out as far as, you know, putting those on?
You know, working with Drew at Palm Beach Towers is awesome because, number one, he fishes himself, so he gets it when you come to him with an idea. And he's really open-minded about changing some things and working with you to make your boat, you know, what you want. These are, I believe, the 55-footers, 4-spreader 55-footers, and then they are hydraulic. They only hydraulic out. They don't do anything else. They just lay out. We find that that seems to be the simplest way, if you can call hydraulic rigger simple.
Yeah.
And then these pumps are AC instead of DC, and that speeds that up a lot. But and we have them. Forget the degrees. I knew you'd ask me something technical, but we have them pointed up a little bit more, so when they lay out, they really give you a spread. But Our spread from tip to tip is 110 feet.
Wow.
So that's crazy when you're going down the edge to think that you got that whole edge covered, 110 foot of it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then, are you finding, are you fishing your spread different? Is it a little further back, or how are you doing?
Well, I think with any big boat, you realize that the volume of water that goes out the back, it's not so much the white water that everybody talks about, it's the volume of water. So, let's say you have a fish on the teaser and you make a turn. Well, you got 60-inch wheels down there that are now putting that blue marlin on a treadmill. And so those are the little things you have to think about. So with that being said, our baits are fished a little further back to hopefully keep him out of that volume of water hitting him in the face.
And then you've got, gosh, I can't imagine just how far your long riggers are back there. But
they're back there, but it's like anything else. You got to get them in the right position to get a bite. Wherever that might be. But
depending on what you're fishing for too. So,
exactly.
What about trolling speed with the boat? Is that what do you like? And
with those ZF gears and the reduction on them, really both engines and gear is 6.5 knots. So and I think that's kind of the standard speed everybody's kind of fishing these days for all around. And then from there, you can MTU has a auxiliary button that you can push that can move the RPMs up. So that's really handy. MTU's been really great about listening to us and what we wanted for fishing. So that's been really nice to use. In Dominican Republic, I use that a lot. So then I would speed the boat up or slow it down depending on the seas. Yep.
And that's great. Now, if you're in the Bahamas or Bermuda, are those different situations where you're probably going to change speed a little bit differently?
Absolutely, yeah. The Bahamas, you're fishing, I think you got more chances of a sail or something like that coming in there. And if you're in the tournaments, everything counts. But then also in the Bahamas, you got a chance for a 1,000-pound blue marlin, really.
Yeah.
So, but down in Dominican in Casa de Campo, you're pretty much fishing for 125-pound class blue marlin. Everything else is kind of a bycatch. So your speed kind of stays, around 8 knots, whereas in the Bahamas it might be a little bit more around 7.5.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And Bermuda, you're a little bit quicker up there?
Bermuda, I don't think you can go too fast for them big blue marlins.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And then as far as on the 92, setting up your cockpit with your spread, do you guys generally run, I guess depends on the anglers, but you're running 4 baits and 2 pitch baits, or what is your?
Yeah, we try to, the old KISS theory, keep it simple, so that kind of works out good for us. We still just fish 4 rods, even in Dominican, and 4 teasers. And some of that, I think we do that for Frank, instead of yelling at him, but telling him, hey, right flat line, now he's on the right short, now he's on the right long. It's like he's either on the flat line or the long rigger. So it kind of keeps it simple. And we found that our average goes up when it's simpler.
Yeah, and are you fishing 2 out of the chair and on the covering boards?
Yep,
or,
2 out of the chair, long riggers out of the chairs, and then the flat lines out of the covering board. You do need a pair of roller blades to get from one end to the other, so that's...
I mean, that was, just recently going on the boat, that was one thing I was amazed. I mean, the cockpit space, right now we're sitting on the mezzanine, but it's a big cockpit, and it's a beautiful boat. So
yeah, if you're on one flat line and I yell the other flat line that he's there, you might as well just stay on that flat line in case he comes back to it, because you're going to be late.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. All right. Well, let's talk about. It's a big boat, and it's a beautiful boat. It's just a beautiful machine. And now that you're managing, I guess, if you will, a boat that size, what's a typical day at the dock maintenance wise? That's 90% of a captain's job too.
Yeah.
A lot of times. So
definitely, I think with all these big boats, as a captain, you kind of want to. You want to be involved with everything, but yet you find yourself you got to be more of a manager than an actual worker sometimes. So, with that being said, we make lists at the beginning of the week on what we're going to try to get done this week, and then we have our daily list. Taylor and I are real big on lists, and he'll make me a list. He'll be in the engine room or something, and waxing something in the engine room, and say, hey, I saw this, and so he's my eyes too, but. Normally we got kind of a saying that we wax something every day. Mm-hmm. We clean something, like clean out your tackle drawers that day, And then we try to do maintenance every day on something, whether take a pump apart or just spray something down. But so if you can get those 3 things done every day, you kind of stay on top of it, but it's still a big boat.
Yeah, and your crew is Taylor and you and what?
And we did just hire a second guy. His name is West Rivers. He's from South Carolina, and we met him down in Dominican Republic, and we're real excited to have him on board now.
That's great. And then obviously when you travel to a destination, I know that you guys probably pick up.
It depends on where we go. You know, Dave Berard fishes with us a lot, so you know it's kind of our go-to fishing tournament crowd right there. But you know, when we're in Dominican, you know, we always want to help out the locals, and if we can hire a local, and you know, on top of hiring them, you also get a lot of local knowledge. So that's always nice. And if something were to ever happen, you got a local guy there that's helping you deal with customs or whatever you might need, you know, to get parts in. So that's always helpful.
Yeah, and then let's talk about a typical day fishing. I mean, you guys with the owner Frank Rodriguez, he's hardcore. I mean, he loves fishing. So
that and cooking.
That and cooking, yeah.
That and cooking. I like the cooking. Yeah.
You guys do eat well and drink well, I'm sure. But so when you're fishing with him, and you don't have to go into detail, he has guests or whatever on board. You guys generally leave the dock, or you're up at 6:30 or whatever. Tell us a little bit about that on the Fa La Me.
Taylor's always up before me. That's just Taylor. But you know, we got kind of a general rule that we leave at 8, and then we, like in Dominican, we leave at 8 and we fish till 4. So we kind of know, and but obviously that could change. You know, if we got certain guests that want to go for walks in the morning, then we'll leave later. But so it's a laid back. You know, when we go fishing, we do fish hard, and you know, we try to go get them, but we don't get caught up in how many we caught compared to the other boat, because you know, the other boat may have left earlier or may stay later, or vice versa. The other boat may have left later and we caught more than them. So it's just about going and having a good time. And if, you know, the old saying, if the boss is happy, we're happy. So,
sure. Sure. And then let's talk a little bit about your schedule coming up. What do you guys, you said you got 450 hours on her now. So
yeah, we'll have 1,000 hours easy by the end of the year. We're getting ready to go over and fish some tournaments in the Bahamas. And then we come back for a week, and then we're going to leave straight from Palm Beach and go straight to Bermuda, since you know it's a bigger boat. That'll be I think it's just under 900 miles, and we'll just go straight there. So that'll be nice. And then we'll fish all the Bermuda tournaments, and we love Bermuda. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and then I know you talked a little bit about your future plans beyond that, coming back and maybe doing a tour.
We're going to come back, and then I think take the fall off a little bit, and then we're going to fish all the winter tournaments here. So that'll be interesting. Sail fishing in a 92 footer, so that'll be challenging for sure. But then we're going to do a neat trip starting the end of January. We're going to go to St. Martin, and then go St. Martin all the way down to Trinidad, and fish our way all the way down. And you know, with Facebook these days, you're starting to hear about more fishing in other places, and then the bulletins that you put up on the website is a big help, because you know, it's all there, what's been going on and where and when and how. So that helps out. And with that being said, we kind of feel like there's some fishing down there that's a little untouched. You know, that the locals have benefited from it. So now we want to go down and see what it's all about. But then we'll do that February, March, go back to Casa de Campo, fish a little bit there, and then we're doing something really kind of neat. We're going to go to Bermuda in May and be there May, June, July for the America's Cup.
Oh, neat.
So we're going to spend a lot of time over there and hopefully be involved in America's Cup, and then come home in August, and then take a little time off, and then we're going to load up and then go to the canal. Enjoy that Costa Rica fishing that you keep hearing about.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a really good year all around.
All around. Yep.
You know, I don't know.
Yep.
El Nino or whatever, but I think, you know, I just mentioned it in our last issue that it's not only that the fishing has gotten better, I think overall the industry, the people the anglers, the crews that are fishing have just upped their game that much better. I mean,
and the conservation that's been going on for the last 20 years really, I think has led up to some of what we're enjoying
Absolutely.
now.
You don't see the floaters going by in a sailfish tournament, or
exactly.
You know, they're all the circle hooks. So
that definitely is.
Going back to the 92, is there, anything that surprised you about the boat now that you're running it?
The agility of it.
Yeah.
It's so nimble. Viking has what they call the Viper rudder system, which is Viking independent electronic rudder, right? Programmable rudder system. And that's really been nice. Viking engineered it. It's their design. And you can take that 92 and inside of a football field, I can go 35 knots, take the wheel and go hard over. And it'll literally sit there and do donuts inside of a football field.
Wow. So she's nimble.
It's got a turn radius at 30 knots as much as, if not better, than the 70 did, believe it or not. But, trolling, it definitely, when you slow it down and then big rudders have to make a turn, it's a big boat.
Yeah.
But Viking did a great job with it. The layout of the boat is really neat. There's a aft stateroom back by the engine room that is really nice. It's kind of get your Snuggie and go back there, and it's all cozy. And then a nice thing about that is there's a guy back there just kind of keeping an eye on things because it is a different animal. It's
and you don't have to go out the cockpit. You can go right out, access the cockpit.
Yep, exactly, and go right up. So it's nice for that, and it's a sophisticated boat. There's no doubt about it, and Viking had to do that to be able to build a boat 92 feet to be able to go fishing every day. Because if you did it just one pump at a time, it would just be too heavy and too many wires, and it just believe it or not, it'd be kind of clunky. So technology is allowed that boat to be built and be what it is.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, I can't thank you enough for coming in here today. I think we
Thanks for having me.
covered a lot, and God, I wish you guys well this year. And it's easy to stay up with them. I mean, you just got to follow Facebook and
they follow me. Facebook page is big. Frank does a lot on there. It's a lot of fishing, hopefully, and it's also a lot of cooking. So if you're into cooking, Frank does a lot of his recipes. So a lot of the ladies enjoy that part of it, and then it's just our general goofball stuff that we do on the boat, and hopefully see a blue marlin now and then.
Oh, that's great. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in to this issue of Dock Talk. If you guys, one of the things I wanted to promote was our job board. If you're out there looking for captains or crew, or you want to post a resume, go to InTheBite.com.
Very helpful.
It's been helpful. There's a lot of clients that use it, and a lot of resumes up there. So it's good quality crew. So. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Check out our website. We're out there for you. And, Rob, thanks again, buddy.
Thank you. Enjoy it. Thank you for the magazine.
All right.
Do a great job.